Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show where we go through the best and the worst that Steam has to offer. Unfortunately, I don't think we'll ever get to the best, but we got some of the not so good. Anyway, the long and short, if you've seen the show before, you already know how it runs. We go through 10 trailers, 11 trailers. Most of them are alpha, beta, indie games, and maybe a couple of AAAs mixed in. We go through them all. You guys get to vote on what we're going to cover on the show, or excuse me, what we're going to cover on the site, where we do reviews, op-eds, interviews, and esports tournaments. So without further ado, we're going to get started with the introductions. We got some new blood tonight for a change. Starting to whatever direction you might be in. To my left, we've got the Grand High Poobah and CEO of this wonderful thing called OPNoobs. It is Fred Breezy. Fred, how you doing?
I think that's the first time you say my last name. At least on the air.
Yeah.
It was almost awkward.
It is awkward.
Actually,
well, wait till we get to it.
You actually almost said it right. You're supposed to pronounce the double Z with Brizzi.
Sì, right?
Yes, Italiano.
Fair enough. We'll get to you in a second. The next, slightly lesser High Poobah, Chris Kellogg, who we all hate because he got to go to PAX East.
Yeah.
Didn't invite the rest of us.
You got to
Which
see
is where I bought this fucking awesome T-shirt.
Well, I mean, he did invite the rest of us.
I did invite everybody as long as you could.
That was the point.
So, Chris, did you get to see Half-Life 3?
And Yulia.
You know, I asked over and over. I even went to the Valve store, and I could not get an answer about Half-Life 3. And I kept trying to convince him that Half-Life 3 was coming out on virtual reality, and he kept telling me, "No, Chris, no, you were wrong. Your guesses are correct." But I said to him, "No, sir, you in fact are the one who is wrong. I am correct because this is what I want."
Maybe that's the only way we'll ever see Half-Life 3 is virtual reality. So speaking of virtual reality, we have R. Kelly. No, not that R. Kelly. Robert Kelly. He's one of the most prolific reviewers we've ever had. We haven't done him.
Thank you, Stephen.
Most prolific reviewer that we know of yet. We've got some new faces, so maybe someone will take that crown from him. But myself and Chris and Robert and Shane, who couldn't be with us tonight, all make up the Nintendo Defense Force of OPNoobs. So there's that. Caitlin, who is looking surprisingly less colored tonight. One of our interviewers, the pillar of our community, as Fred has deemed her. Interviewer, reviewer, and maybe the person that helps us with all the giveaways, if we're doing any giveaways. Caitlin, how you doing?
I'm good. And it is colored. It's just purple.
Oh, okay. So in memory of Prince? No? Has nothing to do with that?
Oh, nice. Not so
I
nice.
bought it and it's new.
That would be
living in Minneapolis. That hit deep purple.
Yeah.
Actually, the day he died, I tweeted something very deep. I let me look at my Twitter and I'll let you know what that was.
That was incredibly deep. Yeah. So, but anyway, while he's looking on that, our editor-in-chief, the reason that anything looks readable on the site, Paris Forge, joining us tonight.
Hey, folks. How you doing?
Hey, Paris. And so the new blood. You poor, poor people. You should back out now. So first off, we've got Nathaniel. Nate, how you doing?
Hello, everyone. I'm doing good.
Awesome.
I am doing good.
So real quick, what brought you to OPNoobs? How'd you stumble across us?
So, actually, I got into contact with Fred. Fred, I was telling him through email, I was talking to him through email that I want to kind of be a writer. I love journalism, and I have a broadcast background. I do freelance, and awesome. I work on the field and in studio. So, I'm excited. I'm a storyteller by heart. So,
awesome. We need more of those. And it looks like you got a fan in the chat already. So you're bringing your own posse.
Yeah.
Lazarus, what's...
How you doing?
Hey.
Lazaro is Cuban, but you can call me Laz.
Yeah. Nice. So you and Shane will make up the Cuban contingent. This is going to be...
My girlfriend's Cuban, so I'm just always glad when I meet another Cuban. It's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
So how did you stumble across this, Laz?
Same. I was emailing Fred, and I've always liked the idea of writing for a website. and I do a little photography, so I'm a little, I wouldn't say multi-talented, but I like to do different things. You know what I'm saying?
Awesome.
So,
And
also,
last but not least, yes, go
there,
ahead, Les.
Just add in Half-Life 3 until 2028 at least. We're not in this. You can throw that away, buddy.
2028.
When we have
another
virtual
12 years.
reality in 3D, that's when you get it.
When Valve and Steam collapse, that's when we'll get it.
So 2028, we're gonna have to keep him on staff so that we can either laugh at him when it doesn't happen, or we can cry when it does. And then finally,
celebrate in Cuba with our new headquarters.
Right.
There by 2028.
Why are we Why there? Why not the?
Because we have always said we wanted to put our corporate office in a place with palm trees, and quite frankly, the only place we're probably going to be able to buy real estate is in Cuba. So.
Yeah, that's right. LA's not a good choice right now.
Pessimistic.
But finally, the guy that actually hacked his way into the call, we don't even know why he's here, to be honest with you. Dizzy Juice, how did you get here?
I was actually trolling Craigslist, honestly. I was going through, I do quite a lot of writing and documentation at work, and I clicked on the writing gigs thing just to see what was in there, to see if there was maybe some technical writing stuff that needed to get done or whatever. And lo and behold, there was this, hey, do you like gaming? And I was like, well, yes, sure. So
who doesn't, right?
So here I am.
So what you don't know is that while you're connected, Chris is currently hacking all of your accounts, whatever they may be. He's doing it, CSI style.
With my mind.
He's not even typing. That's the best part. We had to teach him.
Man. I'm in the Matrix, dude. You got to watch out.
There's nothing really there. All my Warcraft characters are totally naked, no gold. I already got hacked like 5 times, so it's fine.
Oh, wow.
Oh, damn. Yeah, I showed up, and there wasn't much left. It was too bad. No.
Horde side?
Yes.
Okay, good, because we'll keep him on the call.
Good. You can keep him.
Yeah, because if it was Alliance, we're going to have to kick you right off. But anyway, speaking of kicking things off, what a segue. We're going to get to the first game of the evening, and the first game is, appropriately enough, Hack It. So, Chris, if you could read the game description. Caitlin, as always the pillar, could you read the studio description? So, Chris, go. Hack It.
All right. Allow me to find it, and here it is. Hack It presents players with a fully immersive hacking experience. You'll meet characters and find out things you never imagined, including interactive apps that will give you the power to shut down servers and retrieve passwords like you never imagined.
Caitlin?
The game is built by an independent developer, Dan D., who is based in Liverpool, UK.
Okay.
All right. I'm pretty convinced Dan D is also a DJ. Just saying.
You think so?
It sounds like one, doesn't
Can
it?
we get a check on early access here, because I feel like we've seen this before. Maybe in early access.
We have, and I remember seeing Uplink was the name of the game, if I recall.
So where it was different
We've
game.
seen a lot of these.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually like Uplink a lot. I'm not a big fan of the interface, but I don't know about this. What does anybody feel about this kind of simulation game? It's basically a text simulator, right? I mean, that's what I'm seeing here.
So this reminds me a lot of Hacker's Quest for iOS. I'm going to hold it up to the screen here. It's literally just a command line. It's a puzzle-solving game, right? So hacking in real life is literally puzzle-solving. You get a couple pieces from social engineering. You get a little, pieces from here and there, and you try to solve the puzzle of these people's network. So the fact that it's honing your puzzle-solving skills, pretty cool. I mean, obviously this UI is nothing like real hacking. I encourage you, if you like this kind of stuff, to download Kali Linux. It's totally free. A bunch of cool hacking tools. That is way more interesting of a game to me than this, but I would totally try it just for solving puzzles.
It used to be known as Backtrack, if I remember correctly, when I first started using it, but Kali Linux, really, really fun. Don't know if it's a really good solid OS, but I've used it on some testbed machines. But yeah, tinkering with it yourself instead of a game is always more fun. Chris?
So it's always interesting to me when I see the games like this. I actually saw a game like this at the Indie Mega booth at PAX, where it was like, it wasn't just a game. When you clicked on the icon, it actually booted you into something that looked vaguely like Windows XP, and so that the game like started you in sort of a it kind of looked like a shitty version of Windows XP, like I guess Windows 98.
So Windows
and,
Me.
And so it was kind of this interesting idea where it's like it just gave you an operating system environment, and you kind of had to explore it, and it gave you sort of an introductory notice that you had to read. But it's kind of this interesting new idea of a game where it's like it's actually presenting you with a computing environment, even though it's not a true computing environment. It's actually just a game. And I find those things to be like, when I sat down and messed with it a little bit, it was pretty compelling, I thought. It was a type of puzzle game that I'd never really seen before. And I know command line versions of this existed, but I'd never seen it at the operating system level, although Dizzy described the Kelly Linux distribution as maybe being something like this. And I just think it's a really cool idea. You're just kind of put in this whole new environment, this whole new world, where you have to use a whole new set of tools that you have to sort of figure out as you go along if you're someone like me who's really not super hacker and not super anything other than Windows. And it's an interesting experience, and I think for someone like me who doesn't know a lot about the command line experience, at least gives you the illusion of knowing a lot about the command line experience. So that's cool too.
Well, that's fair enough, but just like my personal opinion about the Guitar Hero games, you're better off just picking up an actual guitar and learning that way. That way you get a skill out of it.
I say the exact same thing.
Yeah, so it is what it is. I'd still like to see if we could if we don't review it, because it sounds like it's a lukewarm opinion in the chat. At the very least, I think we should look into interviewing the guy behind it, find out why he wanted to do this, because it's an unusual game, if nothing else, especially in 2016. But speaking of unusual games, we're going to move on to Airport Madness 3D. So, Chris,
wait, aren't we playing Guitar Hero? I thought we were playing Guitar Hero, aren't we? I thought we were.
No,
anyways.
We're not. No, we're not.
Oh, it got me all excited. I heard Guitar Hero. I busted it out. All right. The 7th version of Airport Madness offers players 3-dimensional gameplay from a control tower perspective. You get to sit in a virtual swivel chair, able to pan around the airfield with the drag of your mouse. Choose good weather or bad. Adjust the tower height to your preference, then do your best to manage jet traffic in and out of 4 different real-world airports. Listen to human pilot voices as they obey your every command. Watch as the animated windsocks react to gusty winds. Scan your radar screens for potential collisions. And that's all they wrote.
Wow. Caitlin.
It's very long. Since our beginning in 2008, Big Fat Simulations has strived to manage a balance between fun and realism with our products. With each new game that we build, our goal is to capture the fun aspects of air traffic control and deliver them to everyone, regardless of aviation experience.
I have never met an air traffic controller that calls it fun. They've always been emotional and physical wrecks just because of stress.
Wasn't there a movie with Tom Hanks about that? I don't know if it was a Tom Hanks movie, but
yeah, it's called The Terminal.
No, that's the one where he gets stuck in an airport, not the one where he runs an airport.
So
is it the first game? Can we get a fact check?
I'm almost certain. It looks like they've been around for a while.
This isn't a mobile game. I mean, this game looks like shit.
I used to have like the 2D version of this game on my cell phone, and admittedly it was pretty fun, but this, I don't know, like just the original was kind of fine. Why need to make it 3D? Fair
enough. Nathaniel, do you have any thoughts on this thing that you're seeing? Oh, by the way, he did Laz in the last one, he mentioned that if you want to hackthisite.org is free and you can tinker with that. But Nathaniel, thoughts on this?
Well, I'm actually not too big of a simulation game player, but one thing that I do have to say is that I did hear in the news that these simulations, or I guess the pilots actually and the air traffic control is really stressful job, so I can't really imagine this being too fun. I imagine a lot of raging. I suck at simulation games. I'd probably rage a lot at myself for not doing a good job at it. But,
that's fair. Of the new blood, any other opinions?
So I think that for me, this would kind of like be the NASCAR of video games in that I would play it to make them crash.
And that's, that too. Just like how you play hockey games just to get in fights.
Yeah. I mean, this is like, so I don't know if you've played the latest versions of Flight Simulator, but you can team up with people and someone's the tower and then you're the pilot and whatever. But I want to know who sat around and said, you know what, let's take the most stressful job in the world and then make it into a game. It's just, and I'm not necessarily impressed with the graphics quality of this.
Yeah, is anybody getting like a 1990s
90,
like CGI on this thing?
Something like a launcher game for Windows 98, like we mentioned before.
Well, all I see from the video is just those little cutscenes, but I don't really see any of the what you would actually be seeing while you play the game.
Like there's like a couple seconds where you see some clicks and it kind of shows turn around.
Also, does anyone? It's not entirely clear to me what this is simulating. There's actually no real life here being simulated. Yeah. What you're watching is airplanes from a perspective that is not a perspective that any real human being has while running an airport. And like an airport traffic control simulator, which by the way does exist, involves those screens that you see with the circles on them, and you can see the planes going around. Those games do exist. This isn't even a simulator. This reminds me of an app that I used to play when the iPhone first came out. That was an airplane game where you'd see the airplanes coming in and you'd draw the pathways for them.
Yep, and you had to
that is about this is about as much a simulator as that was.
I know what this game is.
Not a simulator. The graphics are shit. This is in no way even remotely a game that should exist.
I can tell you exactly what this is. If you ever see the made-for-TV Stephen King movies, like Langoliers, I think this is what they use to get the
made-for-TV simulator.
Yeah. This is what they use to get the.
I think made-for-mobile just became the new made-for-TV.
But I think we're just gonna skip this one. We're gonna go on to the next one. Stylo, get us out of here. Hyposphere. Chris, what is Hyposphere?
Hyposphere. All right. So Hyposphere is not simply a classic marble.
Can you take off that hat? That hat is reserved to Yulia.
No, Yulia gave me this hat.
There was something bugging me. Like sometimes there's something wrong with this picture. It's the fact that his face is underneath Yulia's hat.
It even
can't
smells
do that.
Good.
Well, Fred, you're just mad because she gave him the hat and you didn't get it.
Yeah, I got to meet her in real life and you got to meet her on a webcam.
You and Steven, whatever.
And she invited me up to Seattle, so there's that.
Yes, we know.
Yeah, how many of you actually came to Boston to visit her? Only this guy.
Well, I wouldn't be caught dead in Boston anymore. But anyway, tell us about Hyposphere.
If you came to Boston, we might kill you. But anyways, Hyposphere is not simply a classic marble platformer. It may also be the most beautiful, thanks to the power of the Unreal Engine 4, as well as the most difficult. A cunning artificial intelligence, along with the help of a clever virus, has taken over every computer in the world. There is only one chance to fight back. Pass the test generated by this dastardly digital demon. Dare you accept the challenge and prevent the coming of the end of the information age? There's only one way to find out. Take control of the Hyposphere and dive into the adventure.
This is the weirdest virus I've never seen.
I can tell he missed last week. He's on fire.
He is on fire.
It's true.
I was actually hoping, Chris, your hat was a Moxie hat, but unfortunately it's not.
I haven't had Moxie in a long, long time.
Caitlin, tell us about Atum Software.
Atum Software Studio was founded in 2012. They are engaged in the development of independent games that will give players a new and unforgettable experience. Also in the development of 2 other projects, which will not leave indifferent fans of high-quality, interesting, and challenging games. Okay? Games that the present challenge. I don't know who wrote that.
I see that. I see where you're reading from, and that is awkward.
That was dangerous.
That is a great translation. That is some awesome English there.
Games that the present challenge.
So, that being said, I've never seen a virus do this kind of thing. This is like Marble Madness on steroids. Chris?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's my point. Actually, it's not. It's Marble Madness with Bloom effect is really what it is. As far as I can tell, this is literally just Marble Madness in HD. I don't really understand. I think it's a great thing when people remake classic genres, right? Or remake classic sort of gameplay styles, and I think that's cool. But and again, I've only got this trailer to go on, but I take a look at this and I'm like, this is nothing to offer over Marble Madness, and actually looks more boring. It looks way prettier, but it actually looks a little more linear. Marble Madness is a big world. It's kind of like Monkey Ball. There's a lot going on. Whereas this is just like one pathway, one marble. You just weave through it. What's the point? What's the fucking point?
Well, my question is, and I'm going to sound like...
You found purpose in Monkey Ball?
Yes, there's purpose in Monkey Ball.
Man. Goddamn purpose in Monkey Ball.
You know,
My question, though, I'm going to sound like Fred for a second, but with a much clearer accent. Is this a mobile game ported to PC? Because this basically feels like a mobile game ported to PC. Anybody want to confirm that?
I want to tilt my iPhone to play this.
Yes, thank you. Exactly.
Right. Actually, can I play this with a Nintendo Power Glove? Because that would make me happy.
It's so bad.
That was my favorite way to play Marvel Man.
Play this game with a Nintendo Power Glove. That would be awesome.
But
I quit.
I don't want to actually put... honestly, I'm going to kind of say this right now. I don't think this is a PC game. I don't feel like this needs to be on Steam.
It's not. I've been saying this for years.
I mean, this is Marble Madness. Yes, as Danger Video Games in the chat said, directed by J.J. Abrams. More lens flare. We need more lens flare for this. Let's just move on. Who made this list so we can fire them? The next game is Kathy Rain. I feel bad already. Chris, what is Kathy Rain? Chris, are you hearing me? You're muted, man.
Sorry, I'm not at home. I'm at my parents' house. I don't have my typical setup where everything's super convenient. I'm constantly battling different windows here. But anyways, Kathy Rain tells the compelling story of a strong-willed college girl with a knack for detective work and a Harley who returns to her hometown after being gone since childhood. Since the 90s, Kathy starts investigating a local mystery and the legacy of her recently deceased grandfather. As she follows a trail of clues he left behind, questions emerge. What was Joseph Rain really looking for that night all those years ago? What turned him into a mere shell of a man confined to a wheelchair? What secret did a suicidal young artist take with her to the grave? And why are so many people in Conwell Springs going mad? The truth is dark and sinister. And there's a dot and a dot and a dot.
Dot. Caitlin. Wow. Tell us about Clifftop Games. He really did miss us, Brett. Yes.
It's an indie game dev studio consisting of Joel Hosto, professional game developer recently turned solo indie dev. He is responsible for everything but art and music, but a Joel of all trades, if you will, which is a fancy way of saying he's painfully mediocre at pretty much everything, but don't tell anyone.
Oh, God.
I don't know if that's really selling himself very well.
No.
Okay, so here's the thing. If you're gonna, to all you aspiring devs, if you're gonna talk about your studio, please get someone else to write it so it doesn't sound like you're writing your suicide note.
Yeah, like you remembered that you had to write a bio for your development company 5 minutes. Yeah. Like you get into the meeting and they're like, hey, could you give us your cover letter? And you're like, oh, yes, I just have to go to the bathroom really quick. You're just sitting there scribbling on the toilet.
On your calculator.
Yeah.
Paris, what? Go. What is this?
Are we in a retro week or something? Because I feel like we're sitting like a
stuff, isn't it? This is like the old
we're sitting like a decade back, looking at the old graphics, old 3D effects, old 2D effects. This is like nothing seems new or innovative about this. It's just old 80s TV apparently, and then a person on a 2D motorcycle driving for a few more minutes.
Well, I'm pretty sure it's early 90s because there's Bill Clinton.
90s, I'm sorry.
I do want to make like a point with this though that there is nothing like graphically innovative here, but I would say that if this game had a good story, it could be like, I don't know, like the original Clock Tower or something, kind of compelling to play. So I'm interested in I don't know. I think I would actually play this and interview it.
It's got an FMV of Captain Kangaroo. I think that's solid at the very least. Laz.
Yeah, I kind of hate judging games on just a visual trailer. I can respect
what the show's about. Yeah,
that's what the show's
But the previous game, you kind of got a gist of how it looks, how it plays. But something like this, you kind of have to, imagine whatever it is. I mean, I haven't the slightest clue if it's a point and click or a 3D.
Isn't that a problem though? Isn't a trailer supposed to kind of package something that's going to give you a good idea because you're about to spend your money?
You're right, exactly. So they should add a little bit of gameplay, whether it be 10 seconds or a little clip or whatever it is, to mix with the visuals. But that's my take on it, at least.
I feel like this is a game that kind of capitalizes on the idea of full motion video, kind of like Her Story did when that hit the net and everybody went nuts over it. The one where it's just video clips of a woman being interviewed by the police. I think they were trying to go for a serious old style, like was said about Full Throttle, old style point and click type of retro adventure. And yeah, unfortunately, it feels like that's all we see anymore is retro is the new World War II, or it's the new zombie thing. It's usually retro with zombies. So we end up seeing the same stuff over and over. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. If it's got a good story, I think it might be a good way. Dizzy.
So 2 interesting things. Number one, with the side-scrolling bike, I'm almost waiting for like Contra-style guns to come out of it. That would be cool. But here's the thing, though. We obviously don't see gameplay here, but what they're really selling to me in the trailer is the storyline. MIT has a fantastic course on video game design on OpenCourseWare, and in the first chapter, what you learn is the gameplay of a game can be crappy, right? But you will never forget how a game makes you feel. So maybe they're really trying to kind of tug the emotional strings on you, and it's not so much about the mechanics and is it a challenge. This is more like like a graphic novel as opposed to a puzzle game or an adventure game, So maybe it's all about the story and not so much about the technical side of it.
I can understand that. I mean, of the people on this chat, some of us care deeply about stories in games. Some of us feel like the old quote from John Romero where he says games are like porn. A story is totally secondary and doesn't really matter at the end. But it really just depends on your opinion.
Yeah,
he would.
He would. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. If it's
mumble garble.
Exactly, and all that hair gets in his way, right? But if there's a
Can you do that again, Rob?
Yes, I will do it later when I have a mumble garble disagreement.
You do have you yeah. Anyway, I think it might be something we might want to look into, but again, trailers. We're basing it totally off the trailers.
Love the logo. Love that logo. Beautiful logo.
Isn't it a great logo?
I wish we had a logo.
It does look really nice.
Sure, the logo. But can I make one? This is a very short point too. You might all recall a little game called Hard Rain, which was not a PC game, and I did not play it anyway.
You mean Heavy Rain?
Heavy Rain.
Heavy Rain. You're right. That's totally what I meant. Is Heavy Rain. Heavy Rain, which I'm starting to wonder if this is like trying to just like fully lift. I didn't catch what that was, but I'll pretend that I didn't. That basically this seems to be borrowing also like it's just lifting the entire atmosphere and even on like the logo from a whole nother game. And so like I'm sure Kathy Rain can hold up, like I think it can hold up on its own. I haven't played it, but I look at that and I say they just looked at Heavy Rain and they were like, oh look, a game about that, that's a noirish game that has a name that we might be able to capitalize on. Let's just adopt half of their name. We'll just replace Heavy with Kathy, and then we're just gonna call it Kathy Rain. And maybe so it's obviously that they rode the coattails of the marketing of another game. You could either say that that's actually really smart, or you could say it's a copycat. I think it depends more on how cynical you are. But
maybe it's Alan Wake's niece or something. You never know. I feel like that's
I don't think I'm alone on that, right? I mean, it looks like they brought the logo out of Heavy Rain and even the name from Heavy Rain and the noir style from Heavy Rain.
I think yeah.
I just think that they're trying to ride that coattail a little too hard,
Probably. There's probably like a little bit to the detective and rain/noir setting that people like.
It could be, I suppose, but I look at that and I say, man, they clearly this person was inspired by this one game and then couldn't come up with a better title.
I just wonder. I just hope that they found Sean. Yeah. But oh well.
Now I get it.
So we're gonna move on. We're going to move on to the next one.
Sean!
I'm not 100% certain on how to pronounce this. Fred, you want to help me out? Is that Désiré or Desire?
Désiré.
Thank you. Désiré. That's the game. So, Chris, if you could tell us about this game.
All right. So, Désiré is a poetic point-and-click adventure game in black and white. When the school teacher asks Désiré why he didn't draw the sun like the other pupils, he replies spontaneously, "It's always night in my head." Désiré is colorblind from birth, and he will lead you into a world of black and white. He marches on hesitantly as
it's
life.
Steven's childhood.
I was not that emo.
I know that guy. It's always black in my head. I know that guy.
That's my old haircut. So maybe,
oh my god.
Maybe
Désiré is colorblind from birth, and he will lead you into a world of black and white. He marches on hesitantly, as life never brought him much joy. From a tender age, he is going to meet several characters who will elicit in Désiré intense emotions and alter his vision in surprising ways. Is color at the end of the road? The game is, at its core, a critique of the modern world and of the perverting nature of a consumer, profit-obsessed society.
Ooh. So
this is heavy shit.
Yeah, that's some heavy rain right there.
It sounds really good.
What do we know about the... I'm going to get Fred's opinion on this one real quick, but Caitlin, what do we know about the developer? Is this a company or what?
It looks like just a very small group of people. Written and designed by Sylvian, Seccia. Graphics by Sebastien, Vallart, and Antoine, Gouy. Animation by
I want to see Fred try on these
Morvan, and music by Loik, Bredolese.
Okay, so Fred, as someone that has pretentiousness that runs through their veins with every fiber of their being, what the hell am I looking at?
Seriously, you don't find this? You don't think this is special after all the crap we've seen? Like,
Fred is the son of a designer, so I want to get your opinion on probably the only not ugly game we've seen in a long time. So, all seriousness, what is your opinion about this? Is this a legit PC game?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I'm going to make the eulogy of this game just out of a simple trailer, because there's a lot to that. And at first, it kind of here's what I like about the approach. They really, they start off with all the fancy colors and everything looks cutesy and stuff, and then they I think it's very for once, and that's it's not often that we actually hear a good description on a trailer. I think that's very well presented and introduced, and kind of the introduction. It's a good transition, right? Like the moment you get into the black and white, it kind of makes sense. Like immediately I got sucked in, just kind of by the storyline. Everything's black in my head at first, sounds very corny. But then the imagery and the style, by the way, guys, I think it's great style. Like it's not, it's not the most beautiful artwork, but it's very stylized in a way that's original. I support that. Obviously, I support that. This is exactly the type of stuff that, in my opinion, kind of innovates in a field that's where studios like Telltale feel like they've got it all covered. Yeah, it's deep, it's dark, but you guys are in a trend right now where you're complementing all that's deep and dark, that Dragon Cancer, and I don't know, it looks very well done, and it's a small team. I definitely would love to review that, and I would definitely love to interview the guys behind it.
Caitlin, real quick, we reviewed a game similar to this, didn't we? And as a matter of fact, we interviewed the fellow behind it, John Oldblood, with Masachizia. Yeah, you and I did. So are you getting kind of the same vibe from it that I did, or no?
I thought about Masachizia at first because both are about, a young boy trying to figure out, who he is and how to interact with the world around him. But honestly, I'm not sure. I honestly think this one is a bit of a pity party.
That's fair. That's fair. So basically, this is new grounds with a budget, is what you're telling me.
Could not agree more.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like something that you'll play it and it won't make you happy. It'll bring you down a little bit, I think.
And that's okay.
It could be really fun.
That's okay. Dizzy. Not every game is to have a party. I mean.
So the story on this is real heavy. Obviously, it's beautifully done. I think it's the whole storyline. If we're looking at the gameplay footage, actually, game mechanics, and I know I'm a terrible person for saying this. This is Leisure Suit Larry, but depressing.
Ooh.
If you actually watch how they're interacting and talking to people and clicking on stuff and making it work, it's exactly the same game mechanics as Leisure Larry.
I'm now seeing that mother in a whole new light. If
also,
this is
just about someone who's colorblind, as far as I can tell.
Again, I'm feeling like this is a LucasArts.
We all have to be colorblind just to experience that. And games have color, guys. They do.
Many of them. Paris.
Very clearly this is a story-focused game, but like, what I see is that it's kind of does a heavy job of drawing attention to itself instead of being more subtle about it, like making hints about how he sees the world. He like knows, like he replies to the teacher, "Oh, all I see is night all the time." Like they're being really heavy-handed with the explanation, so they're doing their utmost to draw as much attention as possible to the whole. Oh, this is what we're trying to tell you with this story, which I'm not sure will be result in a good story, but an understandable one, I suppose.
I actually agree with that. I still think we should cover this. There's more talent there than we've seen in the best trailer.
I think that's true and not quite true. Nathaniel, your thoughts, and then we'll move forward.
I definitely love story games like point and click and Telltale games especially. But this game I actually think is going to turn out really well, hopefully. But I think why I think that is because, I mean, the trailer itself kind of just drew me in. Yes, it's kind of dark, it's kind of depressing. Yet at the same time, it makes me want to see the growth that this character is going to have, like this colorblind person. I mean, I want to know what's going to happen to this guy or how he's going to, grow from being depressed. And who knows, maybe the ending will be like a happy ending. Maybe he won't be as depressed, or maybe he'll just be really sad. Or
maybe he'll only see the color blue.
Yeah.
Here you go. No, that's the achievement you unlock.
I do think this game is like. I think the point of this game is going for the right place. I've actually read a lot about how people that suffer from severe depression slowly lose color in their sight and see the world that's gray. Now,
it's about a colorblind person though.
Not necessarily. There are studies.
The other thing.
I hear what you're saying.
This trailer is alluding to both to me. And when we were kind of joking about it being an emo trailer earlier, that's what kind of sparked my memory and think wait, is this about being colorblind or is this about? And the other thing too is this could very well be a combination of both. What if it's about a boy who is colorblind, who then is becoming depressed because of it? Because it shows him in an art class, going to all these places that would have kind of vibrant color, but he can't see it, and trying to figure it out.
This is the second. This is the second game in 2 weeks.
This is too French for you. This is too French for you.
I need to be sipping wine and having
I think the story for this game could be very interesting, and I am totally 50-50 on this game because I want to know a little bit more. I would want to do a talk with the developers for this game because I'm very interested in.
I know Fred only wants to do it because they're French.
I'm doing that one actually.
This is the second game we've had in 2 weeks that has focused on a disability being a gameplay mechanic. Now, I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but I really do feel that this might be Depression Quest done right. So we'll see, but I think we're going to need more. I do want to talk to the developers for certain. So we're going to say yes on that one. And we're going to move on to the next one. We've only got a few left, folks. So Castle Heist, Chapter 1. Oh, great. Oh, God. I love these kind, don't I? Chris, tell us about Castle Heist Chapter 1.
All right.
Castle Heist.
Your uncle is murdered, capital M, murdered. The only way to unravel a mystery is to follow his footsteps. Will you reach the end? Will you pass every guard? Will find the way into castle? Will you steal the alchemist's artifact? Over the span of 3 exciting episodes, Castle Heist will take its players past countless of armed guards. Artifacts will be stolen and castles will be infiltrated. This is a game of pure stealth, capital P, capital S, pure stealth. Being caught is not an option. You must follow the clues left behind and pass unseen. No mercy is left for those trespassing. Chapter 1 is the small first episode on a grand adventure. Your journey starts here.
What is the difference between lowercase murder and uppercase murder?
I think it's just murder.
Well, first degree, second degree, Steven.
Capitalized, right?
So it's just like, I don't really want to murder this guy. Or,
the lowercase letter means misdemeanor murder.
Oh, okay.
That's right. Capital M means like willful murder, right?
It's the one you can get away with.
That's right. So capital M is congressional murder.
Oh, I see. I thought it was like a O.J. Simpson-ish murder.
I was thinking more. It's like Mormon murder. It's lowercase because you can do it once. Yeah, you know.
I'm not gonna touch that one. Caitlin, tell us about GoffaGames.
GoffaGames. Goffa says he's a software engineer in the automotive industry. He has an MSc in applied physics and lives with his beautiful wife in Gothenburg on the rainy west coast of Sweden. He also likes games, both playing and coding them.
I hate episodic games. The conceit in an episodic game implies that it's going to do well.
Sorry, Steven, to interrupt, but that was actually what I was going to ask. What is the reasoning? Because we see this more and more. The episodic thing, like unfolding a game in 3 parts. To me, it seems counterproductive. Like, it seems, like it's already hard enough for gamers to keep their attention span on one thing. You're actually asking them to pull away for a couple weeks and then come back twice. What's the argument for it? That still evades me.
My next
revenue
question
generation.
Is, do we have a trailer? Because I'm not.
Usually not, though. Usually not. It's not revenue generation because usually you pay for the whole package. And you get them released bit by bit. So in early access, I understand the logic because the developers are trying to absorb bit by bit. But when a game in fully released, like, and Eli in the chat is actually just covering Telltale, and he was complaining to me over email about how short bursts of experience the whole game is.
I think Eli's right.
Yeah, and aside from the fact that the game, even if the game is good, because Telltale's Michonne thing, I think was very mediocre at best, at least from what Eli is saying. Why release a game in episodes?
Kellogg.
So this is sort of my thinking about episodic gaming, and it to me, comparing episodic gaming to full games is really not much different than comparing very high quality television, things like Game of Thrones and Breaking Bad, that are very well produced, and comparing them to a movie, where a lot of these really great television shows, the storytelling can be very good, they can be very compelling, but the truth is, episodic just sort of storytelling is designed to get you to the next episode. It's not really designed to satisfy you within the episode that you're already in. And so I feel that sometimes and episodic gaming takes that same sort of nod
cliffhanger type of thing.
Yeah, and that the episodic gaming is designed to get you to the next episode of the game, so you buy that rather than really sort of fulfilling you within that. Now, I want to just make 2 small points to kind of temper that. One, I think good episodes, good television shows do leave you fulfilled within an episode. So it is possible to do this right. But it's very tempting to want to just pull more money out of the next episode. And I think a lot of content creators have a hard time resisting that desire to just make more money on the next episode. And then the other thing I would say is at the same time...
Wait, to come back on that, though, Chris, because we do have some time to come back on that. But doesn't that kind of... how do I put it together? You're banking on the fact that your game is awesome. I'm sorry to say, because you're banking on the fact that the first episode is going to be, oh my god, you're going to leave, you're going to be 34. That works with series like the cliffhanger stuff, like the season finale of The Walking Dead. I'm not going to give spoilers, but you know they've got me on the next season by leaving me on a cliffhanger because I've been attached to those characters. I've gone through a variety of, I've gone through so much stuff. So here I understand the cliffhanger, I understand this, but here you're talking about an indie game. You're talking about something.
That was my next point. That was literally my next point, is that this is an indie game, right? And so it might be easier for a small developer to release content in small bites, because you can just, if I'm going to build a game that's going to be 30 hours long, and I can release that game in 5-hour chunks and make each 5-hour chunk, I made the first 5 hours awesome, collect a bunch of money on that, and then make the next 5 hours awesome, and then collect a bunch of money.
That's what I'm saying. You've got to be super to do this. You've got to be super confident that your game is kick-ass.
The truth is, a lot of the times, only the first few episodes are the ones that are really good. because they've already made their money after that.
That being said,
and then they've got their fan base, and then they've got these sort of rabid group of people that would throw as much money as they want at this, no matter what. And they've created a franchise at that point, and it's very hard to. Once you're a franchise, you're just fan service at that point. You're not really about creating new things.
Sorry, guys. We're gonna have to do a real quick one because Chris filibustered his way through all that. I'm gonna do Paris real quick, and then we're gonna move forward. Robert, if you could throw your opinions down the chat so that everybody can still hear your opinion. Paris, as the editor-in-chief, thoughts on a story-based game?
Okay, so episodic games. Here's the thing. Okay, because when you're making a game, especially when you're making an indie game, you're especially close to the project. Like, your heart and soul is in it. You understand everything, like the deep backstory for every character, and the hidden meaning behind all these awesome Easter egg mechanics or something. But then you might not realize if something sucks, like maybe your game sucks and you just have to face that. And, with episodic games, there is another, not quite advantage, not quite disadvantage, being the same as TV shows. If it sucks, you can cancel it and then put the funding somewhere else and try again. You can save on that front. So, it's a way to get the audience, invested and see if you can get honest feedback of something that is complete for its small piece, just beginning to end, but not complete all the way, not a whole arc, just a battle instead of a war. And on the other side is that if you release games episodically, you'll always have these spikes of activity, of talk regarding your game over time, which, in some ways is a better way to build an audience, because, there are games where, you don't get invested into it unless you spend the time to do it. And then, if you relay that experience to your friends, then your friends, who would otherwise not be interested in this sort of game, might actually be convinced by you, and you can build a community slowly build up a community that way if your game is genuinely good with some investment from the audience.
So it's got nothing to do with the fear of press.
With the
because to me, when you release an episode, you're kind of implying, you're neutralizing press in many ways, because reviewers have a tough time, reviewing an episodic game and being fair.
I don't think that's Fred. I don't think that's
they can review it episode per episode, and it still comes out the same review.
Yeah, for example,
or it still comes out as a. Go ahead, Paris. Sorry.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, we're gonna have to wrap it up real quick though. Paris.
Okay, for example,
give me your final thought.
There is the flaw with episodic games in that, Life is Strange was a recent one that was very popular, in which every episode was rated on its own by reviewers, and a lot of the episodes got good ratings, especially the ones in the beginning. Oh, what's it building to? And then the ending came out, and so many people were disappointed, and that would be the flaw of both TV shows that run for very long and for these episodic games that and the same applies to all games, actually. That if the ending sucks, you can just kind of ruin everything. But beforehand, the episodes themselves still got a good rating from reviews, as separate as they were.
Okay, that's fair. And again, honestly, it's a thing where I see textures, I see flat textures. If you're going to put your first trailer out for your first episode, pull all the stops out for the trailer.
Bad.
Don't make it look phoned in. And I feel this is kind of phoned in.
I feel like you guys are being harsh on the graphics. It's not, honestly, there's so much worse in indie gaming.
But the problem is we can't see the story in a trailer. That's the biggest problem. It's basically just saying, hey, it's a pure stealth game. And we've seen a lot of stealth games. So you got to have something good that keeps our attention.
Also,
that's why we're being
they showed us the 5 best set pieces they had. I doubt there's better graphics beyond what we saw in this trailer.
Well,
we don't know that.
At first, Amnesia didn't look like a big deal to me until I started playing it, and then it got awesome. So who knows? Sure. We're going to move on to the next one. We're going to keep an eye on this one. I think we should. I think we can find somebody that will definitely review it, even if it's a first chapter. The next game is Fantasy Tales Online. Fantasy Tales. Chris, go.
Caught me slightly unaware yet again. Okay, here I am. Fantasy Tales Online is a retro MMORPG where you must form parties, collect gear, fight through dungeons, and defeat bosses. An MMO, you say? Featuring puzzles, a rich item system, and a complex encounter, this isn't your run-of-the-mill grindfest MMO title. You know, I think I'm just going to come out and say it. By calling yourself not the run-of-the-mill grindfest MMO title, you basically labeled yourself that. As far as I can tell. That's all I'm gonna say. It's not a feature to say you're not a grindfest. That's not.
This is true.
What's wrong with grind? Since when is grinding a bad word? I agree. I wish Shane was here.
Grinding is absolutely a bad word in my book. I ignore MMOs and have ignored MMOs because of the grind.
That's the thing. You don't like MMOs, so you're kind of biased over it.
I used to play Galaxies and Anarchy Online and World of Warcraft. I play a lot of MMOs. MMOs are just bad now because of the grind.
That's for also the pay to win. I wish we could read information about the developers, but it's basically just a list of names. So yeah, it's Cold Tea Studios. Fred, I'm gonna sound like you again, and then I'm gonna drink myself into stupor after this show. This looks like an RPG Maker game.
It does.
I've seen this.
No, I don't think so. I think it looks a little bit above what RPG Maker can do.
Slightly bigger sprites. They've got
they have shadows. They have shadows.
This is the new RPG Maker. That's actually not a joke. Like this is just the newest version of it, and it's not that this is bad. It's just this. I think this game has the potential to be fun. If it got reviewed now, it would get a 3 out of 10. If they gave it 6 more months of polishing and refining, I think they could get it up there.
Can you also name me a single MMO that's a great game and that's also indie?
Like Tree of Savior.
Never heard of it.
Well, look it up, Fred. It's very fun.
I will actually. I will.
But anyway,
there are.
To me, I guess what I'm pointing at is MMO is not a genre suited for indie.
No, you gotta have a lot of money to do it.
Yeah, you gotta have a lot of money.
That's right. I was gonna say because it can be done well though. I'm actually holding a box to a now defunct MMO that I used to love called Auto Assault. And it's a great example of a game that has no grind at all, as far as I can tell. Every moment of gameplay was a joy. And it's because it was action-oriented, and everything you did was fun and rewarded you. And it is possible to make an MMO that is actually really fun and has no grind. But no one's told that to most of the mainstream MMO players. The best MMOs I ever played are like 6 and 7 years old. So I have played plenty of MMOs. And the problem is there is a certain amount of people out there that really love the grind, and that's what they look for in a game. But when I look for in a game, I look for fun, not grinding. And so this looks like a horrible, horrible grind.
And yet you played Anarchy Online. There's no way fun entered into that.
Oh my god, Anarchy Online was the most fun I can remember having in an MMO other than Galaxies, and then maybe this game right here. Which
I don't know. I was like one of 3 people that played Tabula Rasa. So there's that.
I must be the fourth.
4 people. And I miss Star Wars Galaxy so much.
Oh, yeah, that was so fun.
NGE. Pre-NGE.
You know, I still have my my original CDs for Star Wars Galaxies and the original strategy guide.
I still have my original.
I found my CDs for Star Wars TIE Fighter.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's awesome. You should hold on to those, man.
Yeah, I will show you guys after the thing.
Speaking of stars, and I don't mean Resident Evil, we're gonna get to the next one. We got 3 more, counting this one. StarBreak.
I wanted to hear from Lazaro.
Okay, Lazaro will do you, and then we'll keep going.
I was just gonna chime in on the whole grind thing. Is some people older than me would appreciate the old school style of the grind and whatever. They would appreciate it.
Yeah.
But I think now with the amount of games that we're getting, I think nobody has time for the grind. And
oh my god, I disagree. I think nobody has time for the grind because nobody's got a game good enough for the grind.
I don't know about that.
I like
because when the game is truly great, and that's actually I started.
Grinding implies not having fun.
Chris, let me finish. When I started off the air on The Division and why I was so disappointed with The Division, it's exactly for that reason. It's specifically exactly for that reason. At first I thought here's the game that if the end game releases enough content on a regular basis, then I'm all up for the grind.
Why would you have to grind towards the end game? The whole process should be fun. We're talking about games. These are supposed to be entertainment. You're not ever supposed to work.
Folks,
ever.
we got to move on. We will get to this at another time, but grinding in an MMO is kind of part and parcel to it. No matter what you say, it's the same with the old 16-bit era RPGs as well. So, let's move on to another friggin' space game. StarBreak. Speaking of MMOs, God, Chris, go.
StarBreak is another friggin' space MMO. No, sorry. StarBreak is a unique skill-based action platformer MMO where you explore strange sci-fi worlds along dozens of other players, kill legions of dangerous aliens, and fight epic boss battles. Over to you, Caitlin.
Crunchy Games is an independent studio based in Mountain View, California. We still make innovative, massively multiplayer online games that focus on action, skill-based gameplay, and most of all, fun.
In a space MMO.
That's it.
Okay.
That's nothing at all, but okay.
I haven't seen anything.
So we look at the last
jumping
game and
out
we're
at
like, yeah,
me.
that's awesome. And then suddenly it's in space. And we're like, boo.
Well, I'm sick of space. I'm sick to death of space. The only space
Sick to death of fucking elves, man.
The only space MMO I want to
space.
play at this point is Warframe. That's it. That's the only
I'm not
space
sick of
MMO I
space.
want.
Space doesn't get old. It's forever.
It
Yeah.
totally gets
No,
old.
I think I would play
any
this
quick
game.
opinions? You would?
This is
Kelly?
Contra.
I would
Contra
play. Yeah,
is the
I would
last
play this game because I would play
This
this
is
game
cool.
because I like platformers. I would love to play multiplayer. It looks a little convoluted,
This
but I
is cool.
imagine if I played it enough, I would get used to it. And
This is-
to completely honestly, I love all the creatures and the art style in this. I
Hells
think it's
yeah,
super
man.
fun.
I'm
agree with
totally
that.
with Rob. I'm totally
I think
with
it's
Rob.
so. I think it
I
looks
hate
so
space,
fun.
but I love Contra.
This
so
is
I'm
not a.
I love Contra.
This is not
I
a
love
space
Contra.
game like we conventionally think of
No,
space
no.
games.
This is
Yeah,
this is
that's
yeah.
true.
This
This
is a
isn't really in
space
space.
game. This is a space game like Contra is a space
Yeah,
game.
it's
No,
really
it's
just
just
a
creatures.
sci-fi.
It's just exactly. It's a platformer
Hey.
shooter.
Do you have any opinions on what we're seeing on this wonderful thing?
Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, it looks like Contra mixed with Maple Story, and it. I'm just looking at the trailer.
Okay.
It looks pretty fun. It's just chaotic, and I like it. I like chaotic.
Laz?
I mean, I always enjoyed, all the Mega Mans and all the old Contras and all that stuff. So I can appreciate that, with a modern, space twist. And the art style is great. I like what I see from the art style.
Dizzy's upside down. Dizzy?
No idea what just happened.
That's cool. We can hear,
Your
we can
name
hear it
suits
just
you,
as
man.
fine. It
Thank
just
you.
looks like it's late at night for you.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, hey, hang out, man. I guess.
I'm just
Paris.
drinking FB&B.
It must
Okay,
be the
you keep
JND.
doing that. You keep doing your thing. Paris.
Yeah, no, I'm on board for this because we say space games. When we say space games, we usually expect, oh, hey, look at all this barren, empty sky with no gravity and just a bunch of really fancy high-tech pods just shooting lasers at each other. This is nothing like that. This is something that's going on in a planet or in one of these fancy ships instead of just out and where nothingness comprises of mostly everything.
That's fair. I'm totally on board for this one. We got 2 more to go, guys. So let's get right to it. We got Transocean 2 Rivals. Sounds like a fighting game.
This is the fastest night ever.
Yeah,
Right?
no kidding. All
It's all
right.
because of Fred.
Let's just slow. I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
And in Transocean 2 Rivals, you face a new challenge as the boss of your own shipping line. The international competition has gotten a lot tougher, and the battle for the
Boring.
most lucrative contracts has only just begun. Will you succeed in sweeping your rivals from the 7 seas and leading your shipping line to global successes and renown?
Caitlin, tell us about the fun of logistics.
Yeah, really.
Deck 13 is an 8-person studio working in conjunction with Astragon Entertainment, whoever they are.
There's a difference between playing a game that feels like work, like EVE Online, and a difference between playing a game that actually is work.
That's so true.
Yep.
And I
Although-
feel like
Let's play
anyone
the
not-
game of accounting, everybody. Like,
I mean, this looks like a spreadsheet simulator with some decent 3D graphics, but basically you're just globalizing the planet.
Increase your federal withholdings.
Did this guy make? Is this the dude that made that democracy? What was that?
I can't wait to.
That's my federal withholdings.
I can't wait to file a W-2 in a video game. I mean, I just can't wait.
To a point, I like this, but I want to see in 5 years from now, I want to see people putting this game on their resume.
This is tight, guys. No,
because I know about international
right there. No, this is definitely not. I would say, and I haven't talked much, so I feel like I'm entitled to. This is something that we should review. This is something that we should cover in the dev talk, and actually, I would argue let's approach the dev talk from a different angle as we normally do. Let's do a box opening on this game. Let's do a tutorial. Let's do let's have the devs kind of walk us through that process. Like, this is interesting, man. It's multifaceted too. Like, and I'm not saying this is a game that's supposed to appeal to all PC gamers. I think this really targets a very specific niche. At the same time, it's well done. At least it looks well done. I'm all for it.
Didn't we rip on democracy 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, and I wasn't there, and I'm glad I wasn't there because I was pissed when I saw you guys said no on the reviews, and I still regret not having that review on the site right now.
You hate democracy.
I totally regret that we ever looked at it.
Yeah, this looks awful, and this looks like democracy for accounting administration for Enron. It's
not your thing, Rob, but it doesn't mean that it's not worthy of the PC gaming as a platform. I think it is.
There could be a market for it. I mean, there's some people that love microtransactions, micromanaging. Different things.
To be fair, football simulator and ice hockey simulator, and hockey manager, which we've done from Sega. We've done interviews about those. So what makes that different than this? Is it just because it's sports?
On the flight simulator thing, I was about to actually pull that argument out of my pocket. It's like, hey guys, like, a lot of flight simulators look like crap and are a tremendous success within a specific niche. There's definitely an audience for it, but I didn't because that trailer really looked like crap. On this one, I have to pull that card out of my pocket. Like, this is not a game that's appealing to a wide PC gaming audience, but it looks like a game that is worthy of the people who buy these types of games.
I would say that we should review this game, and then if we do, we have to go back and review Democracy 3 Africa, because...
Thank you.
Then you can do it, sir.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I'm not going to.
Yeah, but we've got plenty... I can tell out of experience we've got plenty of writers who would.
There are new writers. Have them jump right on that, but that's kind of my opinion. If we review this, we have to go back and also review Democracy 3 Africa.
We can't retcon reviews, guys.
We can try. We can try.
We're going to like precedent now.
If you love graphics and you love Lemonade Tycoon, then you should play this.
I think that's fair. We do base it straight off the trailers. The truth of the matter is, it looks well done. It looks like somebody devoted time to it. It could have been just a spreadsheet, but someone actually put time and effort into the assets. It looks like it's really well polished. So even though it's not necessarily anybody's cup of tea, the truth is there is a market for this, and it's way bigger than we actually know. Again, if you want a spreadsheet simulator, out of the park baseball, football manager, hockey simulator, we've reviewed them all. They've gotten high marks because of their attention to detail, and we've talked to some really rabid fan base.
Yeah, exactly, Steven. Completely agree with you. Like, nobody plays those games, but the ones who do, don't you touch my game.
So it's one of those things. It may not appeal to the general gamer, and it might even be reviewed on Steam as a joke, getting a lot of 10 out of 10s, because most Steam reviews are jokes anyway. But I feel like this is something where we should at least look into it.
I think Steam, if I was Game New, I would stop calling them reviews and I would call them comments.
Comments, yes. I don't think they should be called reviews either.
Because I think that's a shortcut. That's really vulgarizing what we do.
And Raylac90, one of our recent converts, after our E4I tournament a couple weeks ago, we actually pulled him from, I think, the Red Solstice group. So we steal fans when we can.
Thanks for being here, Rylac, man. Great to have you back, by the way.
So I think we should run this trailer a couple more times because he's really tempted to buy it. So we could actually get a sale from this show right now.
Yeah.
Get a sale from
one single sale.
Hey, one sale is better than none. Chris,
it is better than none. You're completely right.
Chris, since you've been gone for a while, don't we have something to plug?
You mean like our website or something?
Yeah, like that website.
You know, what we do here at OPNoobs.com is review video games, and this whole process that we're going through tonight is the process that we use to determine which games we're going to write about on our website. So please go to OPNoobs.com after this show, particularly throughout the week. You're going to start seeing all the videos that you saw here tonight. 6 of those are actually going to go on to become reviews. So please revisit our website in the next few days because the content will be fresh. We're going to have some awesome writing done. Our staff is unbelievable. And of course, if you really like what we do, just give us a like on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, go to our Patreon. It's all below in the Twitter below part, whatever that is called, the description. And now, you know, we could really use the support. I mean, people come back every week and they watch us do this, and these games aren't free. So come on, support us on Patreon, give us a like. We will really, really love you for it.
And to answer Rylac, no, the register button does not quite work.
The register button functions yet leads nowhere. So that's actually
means it doesn't function. Do not mislead people.
I do believe
no. Click it. See what happens. Nothing will happen.
The register button should lead to a wonderful interactive 404 if we're really lucky. But that being said, we're going to get to the last
one. By the way, for letting me know that those are called info panels below Twitch.
Thank you very much for telling us that. So, that being said, I know Fred's got a lot of stuff to say to all of us when we go off, but we're going to get to the last one. Thank you. First off, prematurely, thank you all for joining us on this. Stick around. We're going to do the very last one. Normally on these shows, we have giveaways, all kinds of stuff. I'm glad that
we do this time. We do still.
We do have a giveaway.
I've got a little giveaway.
Thanks for not telling me, Fred. So, Caitlin, our super secret scientific method that we always do. Caitlin's going to pick a number between 1 and 100. You guys are going to throw a number in the chat, and whoever gets closest to the number that she's about to post on our end, which we are not going to change, we swear, whoever gets closest to that number or gets right on it gets the game. Fred, what are we giving away?
I'm actually looking at that right now. I'll let you know quickly. We're giving away. Well, no. Here we are. We are giving away Megatech and Rogue Harvest.
They're already putting in numbers. We haven't even asked.
Doesn't matter because it's free stuff. People love free. Caitlin,
2 games.
Give me
2 games. So the 2 closest numbers to Caitlin's number.
So guess 2 numbers, guys. Caitlin, give me the numbers in the chat here, but not there.
Don't guess 2 numbers. Guess 1 number, and the 2 that are closest to Caitlin's number get the games.
Well, that works too. Okay, so we have a number that we swear we aren't going to change. Let's go on to the next one, and let's complain about that. The last game. I had to double check on this one because I swear we already did it, but we didn't. It's called Stellaris.
Yeah, I thought we also had this too, but apparently
no, that's
Solaris.
Not.
That's Solaris.
There we go. That's just similar names. Okay.
I glanced at it. Exactly. So, Chris, tell me about Stellaris.
Stellaris, most notably known for not being Solaris. Featuring deep strategy gameplay, a rich and enormously diverse selection of alien races and emergent storytelling, Stellaris has engaging, challenging gameplay that rewards interstellar exploration as you traverse, discover, interact, and learn more about the multitude of species you will encounter during your travels. Etch your name across the cosmos by forging a galactic empire, colonizing remote planets, and integrating alien civilizations. Will you expand through war alone or walk the path of diplomacy to achieve your goals?
I always wanted to be a Klingon, apparently.
By the way, that's I've noticed this thing where a lot of game descriptions end in questions. I just find that to be an interesting attempt to hook the imagination.
Are you sure?
We see that a lot, yeah.
We do see a lot of that. So, Caitlin, if you could, tell us about these people.
It's patronizing is what it is.
It is.
The question is it?
Indeed. Caitlin.
Established in 1999, Stockholm and Umeå, Sweden-based Paradox Interactive has published in the past Europa Universalis, City Skylines, Crusaders Kings, Magica, and Hearts of Iron series. So they are pretty prolific and have made a lot of games. They boast that their community is 3.5 million.
Yeah, so Paradox has been around a while. We've done a couple of reviews. We've done an interview or two. And these are the guys that saved the Vampire the Masquerade license after CCP ran it into the ground and sat on it for a while and did nothing with it. So
I think we've covered this in the OPN game list at some point. OPN game list 2016 in January.
I legitimately don't think we've covered it yet. We've covered Paradox before, but I don't think we've touched this one. We're going to have to get somebody to check on that. But from what we're seeing here, I'm going to abstain because I hate space games like this because we see so many of them. So I'm going to stay out of it. Dizzy, do you have any thoughts about this to kick us off?
So as a Rabid Eve player, or more accurately, a Rabid Eve troll, I would
like you already.
I wouldn't mind checking it out. I don't mind space games as a genre. I don't see a lot of. I don't know if the trailer is accurate as far as any of the gameplay is concerned. The description is sure interesting. I think it would be worth checking out. Buying it sight unseen without actually being able to play it. I don't know if I'm really sold just based on the trailer.
Is this a situation you think that where Paradox is kind of banking on their name recognition and figures that they don't have to put out a large trailer?
I was literally going to combine what Dizzy just said with what you said, where I don't think the trailer is showing us enough, and I think that Paradox, excuse me, I'm just Paragon Beta this coming out soon. The Paradox company, they are kind of like relying on their name, which kind of weirds me out a little bit. Only because we have discussed several times on this show specifically where we find it a little weird when developers use previously made games to kind of like hype or boost their own bio. Now, in saying that it can be used completely appropriately, we, once again on this show, have just seen it kind of not, to be honest. I'm very... once again, I think this game looks interesting, but I mean, the trailer looks interesting. I really want to see some more gameplay.
Chris?
It's in space, so it has to be good, right? It's just kind of how it goes. I mean, it's in space, it's got planets and spaceships, so it's got to be good.
It's almost like space has that kind of stuff.
The thing is, Steven, it's becoming, in my opinion, it's becoming harder and harder to comment on space games, especially. I get that you're sick of them, but like just to try and not be biased, just to try and be objective. I feel like it's so difficult. It's so difficult, especially off of a trailer, to be objective and. I don't know. Like I don't know what the problem is. I can't pinpoint what the problem is, but space is becoming an issue in some shape.
Here, let me try it for you. Okay, so first off,
the show is about subjectiveness. So
it is totally about subjectiveness. We are shallow people.
Yes.
That's why we're doing it based off the trailers. That's the point of the show. So here's the thing: Paradox has done good and they've done bad. It's happened.
What was their bad?
I'll get around to it. There's not that much though.
I was gonna say, I name it, I don't know it.
Exactly. That's the thing. It is a situation where we're basically hoping and betting that it's good based upon past exploits. It doesn't mean it always works. Any of the best developers in the world can have some turkeys. They've gotten really lucky so far and really haven't had any. That's the thing. They made one of my favorite RPGs. They've done a lot of my favorite RPGs. In fact, all of my favorite RPGs are from them. So I am biased to that point. But we see a lot of space games. To me, this looks like a space RTS. They are a dime a dozen on Steam. What sets this apart? I don't know. I can't tell.
We don't know. That's what I mean. Like, and a trailer won't tell you that. Like, a trailer will not tell you. I find it so hard to usually I'm full of opinions on a trailer, whether good or bad. But I'm starting to see a pattern here that every time I stare at a space game trailer, I just don't feel entitled to speak.
And we love the Paradox guys. We had a blast interviewing them, for God's sake.
Yeah.
We had a blast reviewing their games. We've never really given them below a 70, as far as I know. I think we had one troll that did, but yeah, he's not here anymore.
Yeah, and Pillars of Eternity is...
You're supposed to cross yourself when you say Pillars of Eternity.
A good
they also
game.
they did Magica and they did
They also did
Skylines. I was trying to remember when I saw them from recently.
They're well-rounded.
Did they do... Am I thinking this is the same company that made Mountain Blade also, right?
Yes, this is...
right.
Yeah, so...
Yep.
So what I said before when I said that like there was a way to like buff your bio and using it correctly, I think that Paradox is a company where it might, just because of the games I like, it is kind of appropriate for them to buff their bio by using that. So I don't know. I guess I have
that makes us kind of hypocrites, though, doesn't it? Because we hate that kind of thing, and yet it's because it's Paradox, it's okay.
Sometimes
benefit of the doubt, I guess.
I was gonna say sometimes you. How do I explain this?
Sometimes
we are hypocrites.
Sometimes every good developer has a turkey. Like, for example, BioWare has...
Why would we assume this would be
Dragon Age 2?
I was going to... Sure.
That was a turkey. Come on. Admit it. Anybody in the new blood? Dizzy. I know you've already weighed in on this, but do you have any other opinions?
In his hand there.
So again, simply based on this trailer, which is what we're really trying to go on here, I would play it if I didn't have to pay for it. If there was a trial, I would totally try it. But I don't know that I would dish out some cash just to see if
it's probably gonna be quite some cash too.
Yeah, probably. You know,
it's at least $40. At least 40.
Laz,
it's not.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Laz?
Okay, no, I was just going to chime in and say, you know, if you're going to pick a strategy game out of the bunch that we'd have, you know, it's either this or that Transocean game. So, I mean, like, you have a lot of space games out here, but, you know, some that are well-crafted, even though it's a hard place to get into because there's so many. You know, it's either this or Transocean. You have spreadsheets or you have, you know, nice creative backgrounds and... You know, planets always look pretty on the screen, and it might have some substance behind. You know, I'm always an advocate for space games, even though, like you said, there's so many.
Right, right. So to answer the chat, though, Paradox is the developer and publisher for this game, so it's not like they contracted it out. It's not going to be like a Mortal Kombat situation. Kellogg.
So I just wanted to know one thing. It is correct. People in chat have mentioned how they're publishers and as well as being game designers, and obviously they self-publish. The games that they have made themselves are almost all sort of RTS type games. So the games that they make are generally strategy games. So that's kind of their specialty. And that's what we're seeing right now. And those games that they make that are strategy games have been doing very well. So I know, of course, it's funny because a lot of the times we sort of argue the merit of the trailer we see versus the merit of the developer and how does it all work out together. And I feel like right now I'm very hardcore arguing much more for the developer because this trailer, I'll admit, I feel like doesn't leave me with much. But all I know is that Paradox has published and also made themselves, produced a lot of games I've liked and a lot of games that other people have liked. And given what I've seen in this trailer, there's nothing here that leads me to believe that this would be bad. I'll admit it leaves a lot of big question marks. You really don't get a great sense of what gameplay is going to be like outside of a few point-and-click interfaces and definitely an RTS space setting. But I love so many of their games, and they've had such an incredible track record that I have to believe this is going to be a good game. And just like you said yourself, I don't think we've ever given a Paradox game like less than a 70. So, yeah, I just don't even understand why we would not review this game. We should totally take this on. It's going to be good, I think.
I think we always review the last game anyway. The last game is
the last one is always a guarantee because it's usually the indie/AAA. But again, clarify
the expensive game.
To clarify for people in the chat that might be just joining us, yes, Paradox does publish other games done by other developers, but this is a in-house developed by Paradox, published by Paradox,
which is also pretty cool.
Yeah, this is their baby. So if it goes bad, I'm going to be really surprised. So just going to be very sad about that if that is the case. But that being said, Caitlin, what was your number so we can tell the people?
It was 24.
24. So who had the closest to the numbers. Robert, you were keeping an eye.
The two closest winners, please.
It was Danger and Fishson. If I remember. Yep, I put it in the chat here. Danger
I think if I remember
Danger
correctly, my long stream of emails this week, Danger is a streamer and a good one too. I think I checked you out, Danger. Your stuff is quality, and I think you're friends with Hannah. See, it's all in there here. Come and join us, man. I saw your stuff. Really digged it. Great streamer. So if you can join us.
Did we just bribe him?
I'll give you a game. I'll give you a game, Danger. Just come and join us, man. Give you Megatech right now.
Awesome. I'm so glad that we totally bribe people to join the team. So that being said, if anybody does want to join the team, or if somebody wants to be on one of these calls, or if they go to the site and they don't like what we have written and they think they can do better, all you got to do is send an email to Fred at OPNoobs.com, or Paris at OPNoobs.com, or Chris at OPNoobs.com. Or if you want to be on this show and you think you can do better than me, good luck. That would be Steven at OPNoobs.com. I will totally ignore it and then pass it on to Fred. But that being said, Chris, do you want to do the
sorry,
pitches?
Steven. I'm actually going to give a couple. I'm going to give a couple plugins.
Shouts out? Okay, go.
Just quickly, who's the second winner? I missed it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, the second winner, Danger, was the first one. And who was the other one, Kelly?
Fishson.
Fishson. So, satanic fish.
Give me a sec.
Okay. Fishson, can you say something in the chat so that he can find you faster?
No, I got it, Mike.
Okay. So, to go back to the pitch, if
Okay,
you
I'm
think
done.
that... Okay. So, if you think that you can write better than the people that are on the team right now, Paris is always looking for new writers. Paris at OPNoobs.com.
Easy.
Give it a try, unless Paris hates
turned
my
off
writing.
the lights. Stop writing.
He turned off the lights. He's like,
fed
I'm
up. I
He's going to
quit.
start shifting away. If you want to get a hold of Fred for some reason to yell at him for being French, that is Fred at OPNoobs.com. If you want to yell at me because you want to be on one of these shows, Steven, Steven, at OPNoobs.com. It'll get thrown in the trash, but I'll get back to it eventually. Chris, we still hate you for going to PAX East. Caitlin, thank you for joining us. Nathaniel, Laz, Dizzy, you guys are awesome. I hope you guys come back. I'm sorry that we had to rush through tonight, but Fred wants to yell at us all and paddle us apparently.
And I've got a couple plugins if you let me, Steven. First of all, I want to thank the long stream of applicants that we've got this week. We obviously made our selection, but we've got more applicants to come in and join the fun than we ever have, I think, over the past couple weeks. And we've brought in amazing talent, including 3 new faces on the call. I want to special thanks to Nathaniel, Laz, and DC Juice to kind of, it's not easy, to like, we're used to it. We just jump on the call and take it for granted. Thanks for tuning in, being proactive, being social. It's all about OPN before anything. It's all about being a community and not just a disconnected flow of writers. So thanks for doing that. I also want to say that we're doing a big push as far as weekends go on Dev Talks. We're planning on May 7, May 8, doing literally 10 interviews per weekend, Saturday 5, Sunday 5. It's going to be split between the podcasters that some of them you've got here today, others. Want to thank everybody who's putting this together. Please come in and support the chat. If you want to get involved and just hang out with us on TeamSpeak, you're welcome to do so. It's ts.ethicsgaming.com. We've got the best gaming community that I've had the pleasure to come to know over the past couple of years. They're a welcoming crew as long as you're cool, as long as you're chill. Come and join us. We're not an elitist crew. We actually fight that. We'll bring in everyone that just wants to get creative and get more involved in the gaming, the PC gaming industry. So please come and support E4I, Esports for Indie. We just got done.
Ah, that sweet sound
During the Red Solstice tournament a few weekends ago, it was highly successful.
Suddenly
Ironwood Studios
died.
Fred,
we lost you, man.
You lost me? Can you hear me?
You're back.
I filled in for you, Fred.
Yeah, we met.
I think I summed it pretty well.
In any case, we met about 60 guys who are passionate about a game and really brought in the competitiveness in a way that was so professional. We couldn't be more stoked. And I want to say special thanks to Cyrus, the developer from Ironward, who stayed up because he was in Eastern Europe. He stayed up till 6 in the morning to make sure that everybody was happy with the outcome. It was fantastic. We're pushing the next tournament. And I even encourage the Red Solstice community to latch on to the next tournament, get the game. We're going to go public with it next week, so stay tuned. I can't say anything at this stage. Everything is preparation. The website is getting built. Just know that it's going to be most likely late June, and it's going to be big. It's going to be very big. Steven, of course, we're so thankful to have him and host those things for us. E4I, man, esports for indie. That's what we're partly about. Steven, I'm done. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for supporting OPNoobs.
So, yeah, the long-winded version of that is go to opnoobs.com. Check out the stuff we do. If you think you can do better, come on. Just put money where your mouth is, guys. Come on. Join the community. Everything is volunteer. Everything is volunteer. We're all here because we love gaming. We love PC gaming and Nintendo. So, that being said, from all of us at OPNoobs to all of you out there, thank you for joining us. And, Fred, do you want to lead us out with jazz hands or what?
Yes, sir.
Go.